Every limitation you feel is a story your mind has been telling you for years. It's the voice that whispers you can't, you're not ready, or this is impossible. But here's the truth. Nothing outside of you has power over your potential. Every moment you spend doubting yourself, you give away energy that could be building your unstoppable momentum. The world does not give approval. Life does not wait for permission. If you want to move mountains, you must first move yourself. Belief is not a feeling, it's a decision. And decisions can be forced. When fear, hesitation, and self-doubt knock at your door, do not open it. Instead, plant your feet, lift your head, and declare to your mind, I will do this, I am capable, I will not quit. Force yourself to act as if you already believe, and the belief will follow. It is not the world that makes you unstoppable, it is the unrelenting force of your own disciplined mind. Every successful person you admire was once standing exactly where you are now, facing fear, staring down uncertainty, questioning their worth. What separated them was not luck or talent, it was persistence, it was commitment. And it was the refusal to let themselves fail. You must cultivate the same inner authority, the same unshakable self-command. When you start believing in yourself in spite of doubt, when you take action even when your mind says stop, you become a force that cannot be resisted. Remember this, life will test you constantly. It will push, pull, and try to make you conform. But an unstoppable person is not molded by circumstance, they shape circumstance. Every challenge is a proving ground, every failure a lesson, every criticism a mirror showing how much stronger you need to be. The moment you truly decide to believe in yourself, to command your energy, your focus, and your actions, you are no longer a participant in life, you are a creator. So, stop waiting for permission, stop waiting for the perfect moment, stop waiting to feel ready, force yourself to believe. Train your mind, discipline your body, and act with conviction every single day. When you combine relentless belief with consistent action, obstacles become opportunities, doubts become fuel, and you become unstoppable. Your potential is not a dream, it is a reality waiting for the courage to act. Decide now, force yourself, and watch yourself become the unstoppable force you were always meant to be. Belief is often misunderstood as something that naturally arises inside us, as though it were a fleeting emotion that appears when circumstances are favorable or disappears when the mind is uncertain. Many people wait for that feeling of confidence to arrive before they take action, thinking that belief must precede effort. But in reality, belief is not a passive experience. It is an active choice, a deliberate decision that precedes and shapes everything you do. Waiting to feel ready, to feel certain, or to feel capable is a trap that keeps potential locked behind hesitation. True belief does not wait for conditions to align, it is forged through intention, commitment, and repeated action. When you understand belief as a decision, you realize that it is not about convincing yourself emotionally. It is about consciously choosing to trust in your own capacity, regardless of fear, doubt, or external circumstances. The mind naturally resists change and seeks comfort, often questioning, doubting, or undermining our capabilities. It tells you that the task is too big, that you are not prepared, or that failure is inevitable. If you let these thoughts dictate your actions, belief will always feel fragile, conditional, and fleeting. But when you recognize that belief is a decision, you take control over this process. You no longer wait for emotions to align. Instead, you decide to act, to commit, and to trust yourself despite uncertainty. Decision-driven belief is powerful because it transforms passivity into agency. The moment you decide to believe, even if your mind protests, you begin a feedback loop that strengthens your confidence. Action reinforces belief, and belief reinforces action. It is not a linear path of waiting for certainty. It is a dynamic cycle where deliberate choice ignites internal trust, which fuels further action, which in turn deepens the belief. Every decision you make to move forward, to persist, or to overcome fear is an act of belief in itself. This perspective shifts responsibility from the external world to your inner authority. You no longer rely on validation from others, favorable circumstances, or fleeting inspiration. Instead, you create belief from within as an intentional act of self-command. Over time, this deliberate practice rewires the mind, building a resilient, unshakable confidence that is not dependent on feelings. You learn to navigate uncertainty without hesitation, to act without permission, and to persist even when success is not immediately visible. Belief as a decision is not naive optimism, it is the conscious recognition that your capacity is greater than your doubts, and that progress begins when you choose to trust yourself and commit to action. By understanding belief in this way, you move from passivity to power, from waiting to doing, and from uncertainty to unstoppable momentum. The choice to believe, made again and again, becomes the foundation for growth, mastery, and the realization of potential. Doubt is a natural part of the human experience. It creeps in quietly, questioning your decisions, magnifying risks, and convincing you that hesitation is safer than action. The mind, conditioned by fear and past failures, will always present reasons to pause, to wait, or to retreat. If you listen to doubt without question, it will dominate your choices, keeping you small, stuck, and dependent on circumstances beyond your control. The critical truth, however, is that progress, growth, and transformation never occur in the absence of doubt. Doubt is not an indicator that you are incapable. It is a signal that you are stepping beyond your comfort zone, that you are approaching territory that challenges your current beliefs, skills, and habits. To act despite doubt is to reclaim authority over your mind and your life. It is to refuse to let fear dictate the boundaries of your potential. Every successful person you have ever admired has faced doubt, often in overwhelming measure, yet what separates the unstoppable from the ordinary is the willingness to act anyway. Force is required because doubt is persistent and persuasive. It will not simply vanish when you wish it away, it demands conscious confrontation. You act first, not because doubt has disappeared, but precisely to show yourself that your capability exists independently of your hesitation. Action generates clarity, confidence, and momentum, whereas waiting for doubt to dissolve only strengthens its grip. By forcing yourself to act, you initiate a feedback loop where each step forward diminishes fear and expands your sense of possibility. You discover that the world does not stop moving while you wait, that opportunities are seized by those who move even when the mind protests. Acting despite doubt is not reckless impulsiveness, it is deliberate courage grounded in self-trust. It is the understanding that failure is not a verdict but a lesson, and that every attempt, whether successful or not, teaches you something essential about your capacity and your limits. Over time, this practice of deliberate action rewires the mind, training it to focus on possibility rather than limitation, on opportunity rather than fear. The more frequently you act despite doubt, the more doubt loses its authority over you. You begin to internalize a powerful truth. Your choices are not dictated by your emotions or by uncertainty, but by your vision, your intention, and your commitment. In this way, forcing action is not only a tactic for overcoming immediate hesitation, it becomes a way of life, a discipline that shapes character, resilience, and self-mastery. By refusing to yield to doubt, you cultivate the inner strength necessary to navigate complexity, adversity, and challenge. Each deliberate step taken in the face of uncertainty becomes a declaration of your sovereignty over your own life. Doubt may linger, but it no longer controls you. Instead, you move forward, shaping circumstances rather than being shaped by them, creating a reality defined by courage, momentum, and unshakable resolve. Acting despite doubt is the path to becoming unstoppable, the bridge between potential and achievement, and the foundation upon which extraordinary growth is built. Unstoppable people do not wait for life to hand them opportunities or for circumstances to become favorable. They create their own reality. They understand that the world is indifferent to their dreams, indifferent to their fears, and indifferent to their readiness. Waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect conditions, or the perfect alignment is a trap that keeps most people passive, stuck, and reactive. Unstoppable individuals, however, refuse to be defined by external conditions. They recognize that circumstances are not fixed walls but clay to be molded by intention, strategy, and persistent action. When others see obstacles, they see possibilities. When others see limitations, they see leverage. The difference lies not in talent, luck, or intelligence, but in the mindset that refuses to be a victim of circumstance. This mindset begins with absolute ownership over one's life. Unstoppable people acknowledge that while they cannot control every external event, They can control their response, their focus, and the energy they bring to every situation. They do not blame the economy, the market, the environment, or other people for delays or failures. Instead, they ask themselves, what can I do right now to move forward? This question transforms passivity into action, fear into initiative, and challenge into opportunity. They treat every circumstance as material to work with, rather than a barrier to be avoided. Every setback becomes a lesson, every limitation a tool for creativity, every challenge a proving ground for skill and resilience. Because they act with purpose, they gradually bend situations to align with their objectives. They understand that momentum is built not by waiting for ideal conditions, but by persistent engagement with the reality in front of them. Unstoppable people also recognize the power of influence. They shape circumstances not only by internal mastery but also by the way they interact with others, by the decisions they make, and by the energy they bring to every environment. People respond to confidence, clarity, and determination, often unconsciously adjusting their behavior to match the force of someone who acts decisively. In this way, influence becomes an extension of personal power, enabling them to create networks, resources, and opportunities that would remain invisible to those who wait passively. Importantly, shaping circumstances requires courage to act when the outcome is uncertain. Unstoppable individuals take calculated risks, understanding that perfection is an illusion and that mastery emerges through engagement with reality, not avoidance of it. They know that by acting decisively, by asserting their presence and their vision, the environment begins to conform to their intent. Over time, what once appeared rigid and uncontrollable becomes flexible and responsive, shaped by their persistence, focus, and determination. In essence, the unstoppable person does not merely react to life. They become a force that life must reckon with. They turn adversity into leverage, scarcity into creativity, and opposition into fuel. By refusing to be molded by circumstance, and instead choosing to mold circumstances themselves, they claim agency over their destiny. Their power is not in avoiding challenges, but in transforming them, in bending reality to their vision through relentless action, discipline, and unshakable self-belief. In this way, shaping circumstances is not an occasional strategy, it is the defining principle of unstoppable people, the foundation upon which extraordinary achievement is built, and the mechanism through which ordinary conditions are transformed into extraordinary outcomes. Challenges are not random obstacles thrown into our path to frustrate us, they are proving grounds, tests designed to reveal the depth of our strength, resilience, and determination. Every difficulty we encounter, every barrier we face, is an opportunity to measure our commitment to ourselves and to our goals. Life does not challenge us to punish us, but to show us who we really are, beneath the layers of fear, doubt, and comfort that so often define our behavior. When we face a challenge, we are confronted with a choice: to retreat into safety and familiarity, or to step forward into discomfort and growth. The proving ground of a challenge is never about the situation, it produces lasting results. True momentum, the kind that turns ordinary people into unstoppable forces, comes from showing up day after day, from committing to the process even when enthusiasm fades and circumstances resist. Consistency is not about perfection, it is about persistence. It is about maintaining a steady course of action regardless of mood, fatigue, or external conditions. Discipline is the structure that supports consistency, the ability to do what must be done even when desire is absent or doubt creeps in. Without discipline, intentions remain fleeting and goals remain unrealized. Every small action repeated consistently compounds over time, creating a force far greater than any single effort could produce. Just as water shapes stone not by force, but by persistent flow, disciplined, consistent effort transforms potential into tangible results. The momentary bursts of effort that many rely on are fragile. They rise and fall with emotion and circumstance. Momentum built through discipline and consistency, however, becomes self-sustaining. Each day of commitment builds confidence, strengthens habits, and reinforces the belief that progress is inevitable. Discipline allows the mind and body to operate beyond the limitations of immediate desire or distraction, enabling focus on long-term outcomes rather than short-term comfort. When action is consistent, obstacles become less intimidating because each step forward creates a sense of capability, a proof that effort produces results. Even when progress seems invisible, the accumulation of small, deliberate actions is quietly reshaping circumstances, building skills, and preparing for breakthroughs. Unstoppable momentum is not achieved through occasional greatness, but through habitual engagement. Discipline trains the mind to prioritize what matters, to delay gratification, and to resist the pull of comfort and convenience. It creates a rhythm of effort that turns resistance into routine and transforms intention into action. Consistency reinforces this rhythm, ensuring that effort is sustained across times, circumstances, and challenges. Together, they produce a feedback loop. Consistent action strengthens discipline, and disciplined focus reinforces consistency. This loop accelerates growth, magnifies results, and builds resilience. People who rely solely on inspiration or talent may flare brightly for a moment, but they burn out quickly. Those who cultivate discipline and consistency, however, generate a momentum that cannot be stopped. Their actions compound like interest, their skills deepen, and their confidence solidifies. They become architects of their own progress, able to navigate setbacks with resilience and maintain forward motion regardless of external chaos. Over time, this momentum creates a visible force in life. Goals that once seemed distant become attainable. Challenges that once seemed overwhelming are overcome with skill, and the person who was once ordinary now operates on a level of unstoppable capability. Consistency and discipline are not glamorous or dramatic, but they are infinitely more powerful than fleeting bursts of energy or talent alone. They are the foundation upon which greatness is built, the mechanism through which small, persistent effort transforms into unstoppable movement, and the key that unlocks sustained success in every area of life. Your potential is not a distant dream or a vague possibility. It is a reality that already exists within you, waiting for the right conditions to be recognized, accessed, and activated. Too often people live as though their abilities are limited by circumstance, past failures, or the judgments of others, forgetting that the measure of what they can achieve lies not in what has been done to them, but in what they are willing to cultivate within themselves. Potential is like a seed planted in fertile soil. It contains everything necessary to grow into something magnificent, yet it requires attention, nourishment, and deliberate action to emerge. It does not reveal itself to those who wait passively or rely on external validation. It is revealed to those who take ownership, who engage consistently with the process of growth, and who push beyond fear, hesitation, and self-imposed limitations. Every skill, talent, and capability that lies dormant within you has the capacity to shape your life in profound ways, but unlocking it requires a conscious decision to act, to learn, and to persist even when progress is slow or uncertain. Potential is not static. It responds to effort, attention, and courage. When you confront challenges, embrace discomfort, and commit to disciplined practice, you create the conditions for your latent abilities to emerge. Each small step of deliberate action expands your capacity, stretches your limits, and solidifies the belief that what you once considered impossible is within reach. The key to unlocking potential is awareness, recognizing that what you are capable of achieving is far greater than what your mind currently believes. Most people underestimate themselves because they judge their capabilities by past experiences or the limitations imposed by fear. Potential exists beyond these boundaries, and it can only be realized when you refuse to be confined by self-doubt or societal expectations. Unlocking potential also requires resilience, the willingness to face setbacks, and the courage to persist when results are not immediate. Each obstacle encountered is not a signal to stop, but an opportunity to refine your abilities, strengthen your resolve, and deepen your understanding of what you are capable of. Over time, consistent effort transforms what was once latent into tangible skill, knowledge, and power. As potential is realized, it compounds, creating momentum that accelerates growth and opens new possibilities that were previously unimaginable. The reality of your potential is waiting not for permission, approval, or the perfect moment. It is waiting for your commitment, focus, and willingness to act. By stepping into this process, by challenging yourself, and by refusing to settle for mediocrity, you begin to bridge the gap between what exists within you and what manifests in your life. Every action, every decision, and every moment of courage brings you closer to expressing your fullest capacity. Potential is not hypothetical, it is a living force within you, dormant only until you choose to awaken it. When you embrace this truth and take responsibility for activating it, you transform possibility into reality, dreams into achievements, and latent capacity into unstoppable power. Your potential is waiting for the courage to act, the discipline to persist, and the belief to realize that what you can achieve is far greater than you have ever imagined. So now the choice is yours. You can wait for the world to approve you, wait for fear to disappear, or wait for the perfect moment that will never come. Or you can decide right now to believe in yourself, to act despite doubt, to shape your own circumstances, and to meet every challenge as proof of your strength. You can commit to consistency, embrace discipline, and unlock the reality of your potential that has been waiting for you all along. This is the moment to step fully into your power, to become unstoppable, and to create a life that reflects the true magnitude of who you are. Nothing outside of you can make this happen. It begins and ends with the force of your own will. Stand, move, and act with courage. Your time is now, and your unstoppable journey has already begun.